In 1928, there was a man by the name of Sir Alexander at St. Mary's Hospital in England that discovered a certain type of mold would kill bacteria. By the 1940s, scientists discovered that moldy bread could be turned into penicillin, thereby proving that out of something bad will come something good. My fellow Toastmasters, honored judges, and esteemed guests, I'm here today to show you further proof of that statement that out of something bad will come something good. My first piece of evidence occurred in 1959. There was a young African-American woman struggling to deliver birth to a new child. Now, normal childbirth had that child coming out head first. But this child decided to back out, breech first, as if he was holding onto the walls. After a difficult labor, she finally delivered that new child to the world. And as I later told my mother, I was trying to back out of the deal. And there I had 3 square meals a day, room and board. But out of something bad did come something good, me. And I continued to be the good in my mother's life. Let me show you one more piece of evidence of that. There I was in 3rd grade. We lived in Seattle, Washington, my hometown. In Seattle, Washington, there's a certain type of caterpillar that would group together in hives of 2,000 and 3,000 members. And they would form these big, elaborate cocoons as they waited for springtime or warmth to come. Key word is warmth. Now, my mother said, "Boy, don't you ever bring a caterpillar into my house." Well, me being the something good of my mother's life, I took not 1, not 2, but 3 of the cocoons, the big cocoons. I drug them home with me. I crept open the door. I snuck them into the closet right there in the living room, put a blanket over them, keep them warm. Went to bed, forgot about it. Got up the next day, went to school. There I am sitting there in my classroom, being the good little boy that I was. And just before lunchtime, I look up. I see my grandfather at the front door. Uh-oh. My grandfather got me excused from school, saying there was an emergency at home, that only my services would be of help, not my other 2 brothers. My grandfather was kind of a quiet man. He had a hearing aid. He turned it off on the way home so he could hear me. And as we pulled up the car in front of the house, I saw the person I nicknamed the Terminator standing on the front porch. This is before Arnold. I invented it. Now picture this. I'm in 3rd grade. I'm a little guy down here, short and chubby. And the Terminator was 5'10", you gotta look up, of towering, liquid, black steel. That was fueled and ran on hormonal, raging dominance. My mother. I got out the car, closed the door. My mother's mother hearing heard the door close, and her head swirled around with mechanical ease, and her eyes laser locked in on mine. And as I looked within the deep, dark pools of her pretty eyes, now tinged with red rage, I saw something amazing. My death. My mother bellowed, and steam came out of her nostrils. It was a cold day, and you don't know my mother. She charged me like a roaring rhinoceros. Now, my mother always referred to my grandfather as a pipsqueak of a little man, because she was 5'10" and he was 5'5". But this pipsqueak of a little man, who was very quiet, stepped out with zen-like grace and stopped her cold with a gentle touch of his hand. He saved my life that day. After much arguing, my mother trying to get around him, we entered the house. I stepped into a maelstrom of creepy, crawly, wriggly caterpillars. They were everywhere. They were on the ceiling. They were on the walls. That's the carpet. We didn't have carpet. That's caterpillars. I looked within the closet where I hid my prize. There was a mass of swarming caterpillars, like something out of a science fiction movie. Now, my mother, as I'm sure this gentleman back there will attest to, had a saying that went something like, "A hard head makes for a soft behind. And let me tell you, the spanking I got that day was legendary. You look in the mother's book of best of all spankings, you'll see my face going, ah, with sound. I couldn't sit down for 2 weeks. But out of something bad did come something good. I learned a valuable lesson that day. If your mother says don't bring caterpillars in the house, don't bring caterpillars in the house. And she learned a valuable lesson. How to beat me within an inch of my life and not kill me. For my final piece of evidence, let me share something with you. Now, we all know this nation, when it got started, shortly after it got started, was a nation steeped in racial trouble towards one particular group of people, African Americans. My mother used to follow the civil rights movements. When I was a kid, I would get up, look at the paper, and I'd see grown African American men hung from trees. I saw churches blown up with children in it. I saw teenagers spit on as they tried to cross the college campus just to get an education. It went on, and the dirt got darker as time went by. Martin Luther came along, said he had a dream. Other African American leaders said they had their dreams. But let me share with you an idea. That time period was merely the labor of America, because America was giving birth to something new. Out of the darkness came a man comprised of both races, Caucasian and African American, saying, yes, we can. Yes, we can. America gave birth to its first African American president, Barack Obama, who conquered mountains of obstacles. Because out of something bad will come something what? Good. He conquered everything that was in front of him to become the first African American president. In closing, let me share with you the final idea. I faced lots of obstacles in my life. I started a business. I overcame all the obstacles that was in front of me. And we all will face obstacles. It may seem darkness before the dawn, but if you believe my statement that something bad will come what?
Something good.
Something good, you'll see that good in your life.